With every game release, Bethesda Game Studios provides new and exciting innovation to each of their titles, helping to bring all of their franchises forward into new and interesting directions. Even Fallout 76, unrelated to your feelings about the game, brought the creation engine, a primarily single-player only game engine, into a brand new open world, online, always experience. That's a pretty impressive feat, all things considered. When it comes to Starfield, Bethesda hasn't exactly been quiet about the technological improvements and jumps that they're making for this next entry, with the Creation Engine 2.0 bringing in new animation, a plethora of visual improvements, as well as faster load times, better rendering, AI improvements, better procedural generation, and so much more. Bethesda and Todd Howard have been very open about discussing a lot of these changes, but there's still a lot that Bethesda has been very quiet on. Here are some of my top improvements I hope to see in Starfield. A dead blind man buried thousands of feet below the earth would probably have been able to see this one coming, but one of the most important fixes that I hope Bethesda will make to their game is the bug fixes. When you're working with a game the sheer size of a Bethesda title with the openness that it contains, it's not possible to weed out every single bug that there will be. That being said, I also don't think it's too much to ask Bethesda for a polished game when it finally does release. Maybe, just maybe, they can partner with the incredible folks who make those unofficial patches to begin with, or at the very least, if that's not an option, provide more long-term support to get rid of these bugs over time, so that when you do release the Anniversary Edition, the Special Edition, the Very Special Edition, they don't come with bugs that have been in the game since its initial launch. Have you ever raised or lowered the difficulty of a Bethesda game? Probably. And if you have, then you've probably noticed that the biggest effect that it has is that you will swing your iron sword at a bandit and do basically no damage, while that bandit will swing the iron sword at you and they'll kill you in 1 or 2 swings. When you change difficulty settings in Bethesda games, the biggest factor that is influenced is the damage multipliers. So you'll do minus 50% damage, while the bandit does plus 75% more damage. That's why you might go up against a mud crab at level 1, and a tiny little pinch to the ankle drops you to your knees and you die from, I don't know, bleeding out. Probably embarrassment. Here's hoping that Bethesda this time around can find a bit more of a fair balance system, or a bit more of an innovative or different difficulty system. It's been done in tons of mods before. Hopefully Bethesda can figure out here. You've just faced off tirelessly a horde of undead on your way to Hrolgir the Vile's final resting place, where, as legend would have it, he amassed unfathomable amounts of treasure from sieges and pillages of the cities he did during his age of centuries past. The air is heavy, almost unbreathable, as your legs begin to shake, but you're not sure if it's from nerves or if the entire sanctum is beginning to vibrate from beneath you. Beams of bright blue forms of raw energy jut past your shoulders as they bend and writhe through the air, finally connecting with the sarcophagus of Hrolgir the Vile. Suddenly, the sarcophagus bursts open and a ravaged shriek emanates from within, causing you to fall to your knees and cover your ears and close your eyes. When you open your eyes and look up, standing menacingly in front of you, there you see it! The same looking Draugr that you fought in 30 other dungeons before. Roll for initiative. If it would be boring for your DM or GM to narrate to you when you're playing around a D&D, then why should it happen in an epic AAA video game? These legendary enemies that you come across in Bethesda games, whether they're a high-level raider or an exquisite, well-known, established within the lore dragon priest, they should not be exactly the same as everything that we've fought previously, or a slight variation with a name to it. There's already mods like Unique Uniques, which changes the weapons so that legendary dagger of the 7 Kings no longer looks like any other dagger in the game. So why not give the same, although 1, that's a mod, and 2, why not give the same level of love and treatment to the bosses that we fight in the game? Unique bosses to fight will give opportunities to players to regale about the epic stories and clashes that they've had as they navigated their way through tombs or crypts or alien ruins or whatever we might find. The handcrafted dungeons that Bethesda has been using for both Fallout 4 and Skyrim are already fantastic, but that final encounter kind of makes it wear a bit thin when you know you've already faced this enemy. Try to give them a unique look and feel to them, and then bonus points if they actually have unique skill sets or moves that can't be done by other enemies in the game. Yes, it will be absolutely more time to craft out each of these individual enemies, but it will be all the more exciting and more to talk about and more reason to go off and explore another dungeon other than, well, I want the loot. Come to think of it, there's no real particular boss encounter in Bethesda games where there probably should have been that I really viscerally remember as being an engaging, really incredible experience. Of course, everything surrounding the game and surrounding the boss is pretty cool, but the fight against themselves is less so. So here's on the list better boss battles. I'll probably never forget the first time that I walked into Diamond City, this legendary location in the kind of the middle of the Commonwealth, the Great Green Jewel, where people come for sanctuary and safe harbor, and then you enter for the first time, and well, it doesn't seem like it's gonna be a jewel of anything. Todd Howard is on record of saying that the cities are an area where Bethesda would like to improve, although nothing of the sort has been discussed specifically in relation to Starfield. Looking at the concept art of, say, Neon, it seems like this is a prime opportunity to make a fully living and breathing city, not like what we see in Skyrim where they're more or less walled villages, but ones filled to the brim with buildings and people, and not just stuffing the area with generic nameless NPCs. That's not what I'm talking about. And I hope that they are able to find a balance between expanding the size that we could wander around and explore in while still keeping that close to home feel. My favorite RPGs are the ones that let me make my own choices and live with the consequence, whether those are positive or they're negative, if it locks me out of particular content or allows me to see brand new things that I've never seen before. Not every decision has to be this massive world-changing event like blowing up Megaton, although come to think of it, I'm really hoping that we see something similar to that. We haven't really since then. Adding in recurring characters is a great way to show off chains of events that are possible based on the interactions you had. Say if you helped some random farmer NPC back in Act 1, and then he resurfaces in Act 2 to help you along the way. Or if a faction that you've been participating in that you've chosen to join is there helping and assisting you, providing you new avenues in order to pursue the main quest. I know that Mass Effect is a vastly different, much more linear game, but you think about how certain chains of events are set off or put in motion or completely halted based on which characters might live or might die or what quests you've interacted with. It's exciting and it's refreshing, and it makes every playthrough feel unique. Whether you're doing a faction quest line or the main quest line, at the end of the day, mine should not feel exactly the way yours does. Take a look at how some other games have handled these massive decisions and the consequences of those decisions and try to implement them into Starfield. It will make a much more lively, a much more exciting, and a much more replayable experience in the long run, and your players will thank you for it. There's a lot that wasn't covered in this video, right? Smaller things such as more enemy variety, not just having Draugr, Draugr Overlord, Draugr Deathlord, Draugr Death Overlord, right? Sometimes I honestly forget how ridiculous it can be. And then factions. You can make an entire video talking about how factions alone can be improved for the next installment of a Bethesda title. So there's a lot here. Maybe we'll make a part 2 if you guys like this video and enjoy it, but I want to hear mostly what you guys have to say and what you're most looking forward to improving in the comment section. That's what's the most fun for me doing these videos. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please do leave a like on the video, and as always, I hope to see you all next time. So long, everybody.